Welcome forward. Okay, welcome U.S. Virgin Islands Chess Federation, players, coaches, staff, admins, and everybody else involved in our U.S. Virgin Islands expansion project for the new 2023 New Year, guys. In auspices of the President, Ms. Margaret Murphy, the U.S. Virgin Islands Chess Federation, and Anthony Mongello. Guys, this is Colin Peter Heim, online operator and instructor at Saturday School for U.S. Virgin Islands Chess Federation at ISV. Guys, welcome. And let's take a look at a game from Lichess, or Lichess rather, okay? And I want to share this game because it was a high-level game and because it was against an opponent who is very high rated on Lichess. Okay, so we see here my opponent has a rapid rating of over 2300, classical rating of over 2100. He's ranked in the top 100 or so on lichess.com for classical chess. All right, guys, that's a good introduction. Let's get right to the game. I started a new account on Lichess, and so far I've played, I've lost my first blitz game and my first rapid game, but I've played 10 games, and this was the 10th game I've played classical variant. We see over 2,000. Okay, so let's begin. And guys, this is for my advanced. This is for my advanced level course, and we see, guys, the score was half and half. Okay, we drew this game, and Kirk Fisher. Okay, let's get right to it. Okay, so E4, guys, your host. If you guys are new to my videos and you're new to my channel, right? Okay, let's go to the analysis board now that we're over the introduction. Analysis. Okay, analysis. Yes, E4. Okay. So, guys, in this game, I actually had less of a centi-pawn loss than my opponent here. So we see my average centi-pawn loss, guys. And again, this video, guys, if you're a beginner or you're new to chess, check out some of my other videos in the playlist that are for beginners and intermediate level. Guys, this is for advanced chess players only. I don't expect anyone who's not advanced past maybe 1500 level FIDE to understand the themes and the topics and everything that I'm going to go over with you guys. So if you are advanced, stay with me, and you guys should get a lot out of this at ISV. I'm talking to Justin, I'm talking to Michael, I'm talking to David, Nyan. Trust this will be worth your guys' time. Okay, so as we mentioned, average centi-pawn loss after the game. My opponent had 53, I had 50, so I had a better center game than my opponent, Kirk Fisher. Okay, 5 inaccuracies by me, 4 inaccuracies by him, 3 mistakes by me, 2 mistakes. Okay, so overall, I think I still had a better game because, again, as mentioned, I had lost less pawns. So I created more of an advantage for myself that kind of made up for the maybe one or extra mistake I had. The engine's saying 3 blunders, guys, but let's get into this now and see why this was drawn. Guys, E4, E5, we're going to go for the Philidor defense, the Steinitz variation with bishop to E7. Okay, bishop to E7, pseudo-Steinitz variation. Guys, against the Philidor, especially, guys, again, I'm talking to my ISV team, my OpenSben team. Guys, the Philidor defense is something that I face against Stockfish level 8 a lot, and I'm always just playing bishop to C4, okay? And I have faced the Steinitz against Stockfish 8, right? Talking about the maxed out level engine here on Lichess, right? For you guys that maybe aren't as familiar with playing against Stockfish, right? But you guys should be playing against Stockfish. It's something that you guys should be doing on a normal, day-to-day basis, okay? All right, so C3, this is the Steinitz variation, okay? C3, getting ready to push D4. The engine is saying, okay, knight F6 immediately. Okay, so my opponent went for the first mistake. Okay, F5. The engine is saying F5 is a complete mistake. Guys, in this position, if you have white pieces, what do you play? If you have white pieces in this position, guys, what do you play? All right, well, I just played D3. And D3 is fine, right? Well, guys, if we capture, bishop captures, and black is catching up in development, and I think this is what black wants. Well, now if I play D4, E5 comes, and I think white is already losing, okay? In the first couple moves, right? All right, F5 and D3. Okay, so C6. The engine wants me to castle immediately, and castling is something that I actually considered. Okay, guys, I considered castles in this position, okay, but I did not. Instead, I went for knight from b to d2, which the engine is saying, Stockfish 15.1 is saying that's an inaccuracy, okay? But I really did consider castles immediately, guys. I swear that was my initial prompt, and I think white is doing fine, okay, so to speak, in the first couple moves. The engine's actually already saying that this is already over +1 for white, okay, so this is kind of interesting, right? All right, guys, let's continue with the game, shall we? Continue with the game. Let's go. Knight from b to d2, guys, and bishop to f6. So my opponent making what the engine says, the first two mistakes. I've only made one inaccuracy, and it's only, what, move 7? Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, let's go to the move orders. Move 6. Okay, f takes on e4 was best. Okay. So we have d4 played by myself. E captures on d4. Knight captures on d4. F takes on e4. And, guys, okay, so why is knight captures here not recommended, right? Well, if he gets to push here in the center, sure, I'm taking with check, queen takes, and I don't like this position at all for white. I think I'm a little exposed here with the queen on the f6 square, okay? I feel like I'm a little exposed with that queen on f6, so I didn't want to see that line. Instead, we went for fe4, and I'm just capturing, and the engine says this is fine. Bishop g8 is just fine. And this is just to avoid the double attack on d5 pawn push. Rook g8 and knight to e4. Now we're going after the f6 bishop. So the plan is clear now for white. Okay, 10 moves have been played. Queen to e7. Wow, so my opponent making all very dubious moves in the opening. Okay, guys? Guys, again, don't be, I guess if you play Lichess, don't be intimidated by people's ratings, right, on Lichess. Don't be intimidated because, I mean, Lichess ratings don't necessarily reflect the strength, maybe, of players, I would say. So it's maybe not something that we should take to heart, so to speak. Guys, after queen to e7, find the move for white. What did I play in this position? Pause the video. What did you find? The solutions coming up after you selected pause. Guys, queen to e2. And they're saying this is a blunder as well, just castles, right? And if queen takes, guys, there's just rook e1, right? So this was my oversight. I was a little nervous in this opening, okay? Well, let's continue. Queen to e2, so I made the first blunder. The engine's saying that white is just clearly better after castles. Okay, so let's continue. d5 now, going after the horse. Guys, find the move, the obvious continuation in the position. Okay, knight takes on f6, g takes on f6. And the engine wants me to play bishop to d6, which also very much crossed my mind in this position. But instead, guys, I went for queen captures, king captures, and now bishop to f4 is best instead of castling, okay? So all the move orders were kind of thrown off in the Steinitz variation, right, guys? A little, you know, uncouth and a little unsound, a little dubious. But let's continue and let's just show, you know, why maybe this was a draw or why it was a draw. Okay, guys, after castles, right? Okay, queen takes, went over the line, king takes, let's go. Castles, right? And bishop to h3. Guys, rook to e1, check to the black king, okay? And that's just to avoid this nasty, weird thing going on that black's trying to prove. Okay, guys, after this, just g3 and everything's fine, okay? So white has better pawns on the king side, okay? And maybe it's a little annoying that white gets to finish development first before black on move 16. But after bishop f4, which is fine by the engine, rook a e8, and now, guys, we're Olympiad players, right? We're FIDE chess players, right? Rook a e8, rook e3, takes. Well, we're not taking with the pawn, obviously. We don't want to mess up the pawn structure. So bishop takes, and knight to e5. And this was in this position, guys, I just played f4, okay? Going after the knight, f4. And we're recommended to go backwards with the bishop, right? Okay, well, the engine's saying go back here, guys, because if knight does take on b2, well, there's this. And if knight's hopping back to attack that pawn, well, first I'm taking with check. And after this, well, I think maybe I'm liking my position more here, more and more as the day goes on, okay? So, yeah, maybe this should have been considered, and I think this is actually winning for white. Oops, we would never take there, right? Yeah, this is clearly winning for white. Okay, so I did not consider that line. Okay, so it was okay to allow black to simply go after the b2 pawn, and that's, you know, something interesting, right? Okay, so continuing with the game now, guys. Knight to h4, right? Rook to e8, and b3, right? Rook to e1 check, and now, well, there's going to be a double attack, guys, after we attack that black rook and after we attack that black knight, right? So the b3 pawn is now attacking the knight, the king is attacking the rook, right? So I thought in this position that my opponent was going to perhaps maybe offer perpetual, right? Just moving the king back while I have to defend the h2 pawn in this position, guys. If I just go back here while rook takes and black is winning, okay? So it was in this position that I moved to g1 as mentioned and back up. It's recommended to check again, and the engine's saying that actually black should just repeat moves and just claim, and white should claim a draw. Okay, but that was not played in the game, guys. Let's go to the line that was played in the game. Okay, so b3, rook e1 check, king f2, king moving back, and my opponent decided to give up the exchange. Well, this isn't losing for black, giving up the exchange. My opponent wanted a take back in this position, so I obliged and captured on c1. But now after the follow-up with knight to d6, well, guys, that's a really strong knight for Team Black. So what we want to do is we want to try to avoid the course. Okay, we want to try to avoid the course of that black knight. So instead of really moving the king up the board, we want to just move him to the side. Okay, so the king slides to g2. Now c5. Okay, h3. Now attacking the light-squared bishop, right? Bishop's going to drop back to d7. That's fine. Rook d1. Now we're just making a clear attack on the d5 pawn. Okay. Bishop to c6, and now after knight to f3, which, well, the engine considers a mistake, and maybe I didn't consider rook to c1. I did consider rook to c1, but I didn't play it. Okay, so the engine says I made another mistake, knight to f3, and knight to f5 is a blunder. Okay, so, okay, let's continue after knight to b5. Well, guys, that just allows me to play rook to e1, and I think it's better to get on the open file. Again, I don't know why the engine doesn't like that, but I think the open file is decent for white. Let's continue. Pay a little less attention to the engine, guys, because maybe, well, we'll never have the depth that Stockfish 15.1 has or beyond, so let's just consider the human moves and focus less, as mentioned, on the engine predicament and the analysis, okay? So knight to d4, knight to c takes d4, knight takes d4, rook e3, and I just wanted to, well, keep the defense. I thought to myself, well, if I go to c1 and knight takes, okay, rook takes, and now the bishop actually has to move, so, well, I'm actually winning a pawn in this position. I did not consider this line either. So Stockfish has me totally covered in all these variations and says, no, you should have done this, this is winning. No, you should have done this, this is winning, as I was plus a point up, but I do not have the depth of Stockfish level 15, guys. So let's continue. I know I'm giving the engine a lot of attention, and I shouldn't be doing that right now. Okay, rook e1 is mentioned. Let's go over that c4 line, d4 line again, cd4, knight d4. We'll go with what was played in the game. Now I'm just going to give back the exchange in this position, guys, and just go to this drawing game. Stockfish saying that it wasn't drawing. Whoops. Let's go back. Okay, king f2, and now giving back the exchange. Well, I have the kingside majority, and well, maybe my opponent should have considered a pawn push instead of moving the king up, but it's a very sort of nerve-wracking situation. Although this was a classical game, guys, 30 minutes per player. Both of us were on, well, he had 20 minutes on the clock. I think I had like 10 minutes. Okay, so exchanging the d-pawns, takes, and it looks like white has a pass pawn, guys, but this is absolutely drawing. After c5, c4, bc4, and bc4, and after the black king decides to move back, right? Well, now I got to go chase the c-pawn, so I'm running backwards, right? Okay, move 46, king f5, and, well, just capturing on c3, and now I'm not in time. Okay, so this is a drawing line, and the engine showed me all the lines, and I showed you guys all the winning lines, actually, if you guys were paying attention to some of those lines that we went over, which were super complicated, and I didn't have the depth to go over that. Well, this is all just drawing now, guys, right? 2 pawns on the wing. This is a very well-known draw, right, in chess. a4, right, c7, king a7, right, king c8, and now just pushing the pawn. Well, we're going to stale. Maybe it was best to offer a draw because I didn't want to see this. I was kind of upset, but now, okay, no one has anywhere to go. And that's going to be it, guys, on move 58. Okay, so let's go back to the opening. We're about 15 minutes in on the dot. Spend about a couple more minutes now, and then we'll wrap up this video. And with much more to come in the future, as usual, okay? All right, e4, e5. So this guy's a Steinitz variation, right? With c3, right? Bishop e7, c3. Well, knight f6, and instead of knight f6, f5. f5. I think this is sort of like my opponent shooting at something different, maybe like a novelty. I don't really know what the point is of that dashing f pawn. But d3, okay, short castles like we mentioned. Knight from b to d2 was an inaccuracy for sure. Bishop f6. Well, it should have been knight f6, d4. Chops, chops. Chops, bishop g8, and again, that was just avoiding the pin that I thought was there, but it wasn't. We went over, guys, previously in the video why that wasn't a pin, so you guys can check that out. Again, rewind the video, do what you got to do. Queen to e2 after queen e7. Well, guys, just castles. Obviously, guys, there is no available captures for black here. Just captures, takes, and then this is a completely winning line, so I don't know why I totally missed that. Again, I think I was nervous because of my opponent's rating. And like we guys, I think that's a theme of this game, guys, too, is let's not, take Lichess too seriously when it comes to ratings. I think that's something that I want to say in this video. Guys, just take care of yourselves, enjoy your chess online and over the board. We'll see you guys at ISV, and everybody, see everybody on the other side. And for the third time, guys, much more to come in the future. Take care of yourselves, and bye-bye for now. Okay, queen takes, king takes, short castles. And guys, very easily avoidable line, right? Check. After the king moves, just push the pawn. And still good playing chances for white, right after knight d7 and bishop to f4. Okay, guys, good stuff. See you guys later. Bye-bye.